Angels and demons, spiritual beings of good and evil. All religions, ancient and modern, primitive and advanced, believed in various forms and to various degrees in the existence of some spiritual beings, forces and principles that mediate between the realm of the sacred or the divine, hence in the realm of the transcendental, and in the cosmic realm of time and space, cause and effect. In Western religions, such spiritual beings, when viewed as good, are usually called angels, and those viewed as evil are called demons. In other religions, Eastern, ancient, and primitive, the role of such intermediate beings is less defined because they appear sometimes as good and sometimes as evil. Their nature and significance, the angels. The term angel means messenger in ancient Greek, just like its equivalent Hebrew word malach, and thus the real meaning of the word angel emphasizes more the role of these beings or the rank they hold in the cosmic hierarchy than their very essence or nature, things for which popular reverence showed a special interest, and above all in the religions of the West. So the meaning given to angel is determined rather by what they do than by what they are. Whatever their essence or innate quality they possess is derived from their relationship with their source, God or supreme being. However, Western iconography, the system of symbolic iconography, icons, has caused angels to be assigned essential attributes that often go beyond their functional relationships with the divine or sacred and their mission in the earthly world. In other words, popular piety, nourished by graphic and symbolic representations of angels, had to some extent attributed semi-divine or even divine qualities to various angelic figures. Although this is not usually condoned by dogma or theology, some angelic figures such as Mithras, a Persian god who in Zoroastrianism became an angel, mediator between heaven and earth, and judge and guardian of creation, eventually assumed the status of gods or demigods with their own worship. Zoroastrianism believed in Amesha Spenta, the divine or great-souled immortals, who were the liturgical aspects of hypostasis of Ahura Mazda, the wise Lord. One of the Ameospenda, Vohumana, the good spirit, revealed to the Iranian prophet Zoroaster, 6th century BC, the true God, his nature, and a kind of moral contract which man can accept and keep or reject and defy it. In a similar way, some 1,200 years later, the angel Gabriel, messenger of God, the archangel Gabriel, revealed to the Arab prophet Muhammad, it's claimed, 5th, 6th century AD, the Quran, the Islamic Holy Bible, and the true God, Allah, and its uniqueness and to the moral and religious imperatives of Islam. The epithets used to describe Gabriel, the messenger of God, the spirit of holiness, and the faithful spirit are similar to those attributed to Zoroastrian Amesha Speda and the third person of the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit of Christianity. In these monotheistic religions, although Zoroastrianism later evolved into dualism, as well as in Judaism, the evidence for the functional characteristic of angels is clearer than for their ontological status or the nature of being, although in many cases the popular piety and myth have embellished their functional role. Various religions, including primitive ones, believe in beings who mediate between the sacred and the secular realms, but this belief has been more fully elaborated by the religions of the West. The demons. The term demon is again an ancient Greek word meaning supernatural being or spirit, although it was often identified with a malevolent or wicked spirit. It originally meant a spiritual being that influenced the character of man. A good demon, a good spirit, for example, exuded good disposition in his dealings with people. Thus, the philosopher Socrates presents his own demon as a spirit that inspired him to seek and speak the truth. Little by little, the term came to refer to the lower spirits of the supernatural realm, which pushed people to do actions that would not be good for them. The prevailing interpretation wanted the demon to be an evil spirit, and therefore a spirit that heralds evil, misfortune, and disturbances. For some primitive religions, spiritual beings could be either good or evil, depending on the situation faced by individuals or the community. Thus, the usual classifications which classifies demons among evil spirits has no absolute validity in primitive religions. Good spirits or evil spirits can in time take completely opposite attitudes. This was the case with the ancient Indo-Iranian religion from which Zoroastrianism arose, as well as early Hinduism, reflecting in the Vedas, the ancient Aryan hymns. In Zoroastrianism, the devas were considered evil spirits, but their counterpart in ancient Hinduism, the devas, were considered gods. The ahuras of Zoroastrianism were good lords, but their Hindu counterparts, the asuras, have turned into evil lords. In much the same way, Satan, the accuser of men in the court of divine justice in the Old Testament, in the book of Job, he became the main opponent of Christ in Christianity and man in Islam. Many such variations testify that the clear distinction between angels as good spirits and demons as evil spirits may be too simplistic, even if such characterizations could be a very useful indication of the general function of similar spiritual beings. The beliefs about angels and demons in various conceptions of the universe, because man is a being that struggles to grasp his limits, something that differentiates him from other living beings, that makes his community and consequently his world different from other communities and other worlds, or from his view of the universe, has influenced his perception of what we call angels and demons. The world can be monistic for some religions, such as Hinduism, which sees the universe as wholly sacred or as participating in a single divine principle, Brahma or the Self. It can also be dualistic, as in Gnosticism, the occult religious dualistic system, or Christian heretical movement as it's commonly understood, that flourished in the Greco-Roman world in the 1st and 2nd centuries AD, which generally views the world of matter as evil and the kingdom of the spirit as good. The third view of the world, which is generally found in the monotheistic religions, Judaism, Zoroastrianism, Christianity, and Islam, has as its basis a tripartite universe, heavenly, terrestrial, and hypochthonous, that is, under the world, under the earth. And this third view influenced Western man's idea about angels and demons, as well as his scientific and metaphysical ideas. In the concept of a tripartite universe, in the biblical, Hellenistic, and Islamic worlds of thought, the early realm was a world in which man was limited by factors such as time, space, cause, and effect. The heavenly kingdom, which consisted of the 7 heavens or spheres, dominated by the 7 then known planets, was the kingdom of the divine and the spiritual. The underworld was the domain of chaos and spiritual forces of darkness. At the highest level of the celestial sphere was the supreme expression of the divine or the sacred, for example, Yahweh, the god of Judaism and Christians, whose name was so sacred that no one even was allowed to mention it. The abyss, the unknown principle, beyond all principle. In Gnosticism, the heavenly Father of Christianity, known through the world, the divine word, Jesus Christ, and Allah, the powerful, almighty, and awesome God of Islam. In order to reveal the destiny of man, the most perfect being in the earthly kingdom, the supreme being of the celestial sphere made man, according to these theories, capable of knowing who he is, what his origin is, and what his destiny is, through the meditation of the heavenly soothsayers, the angels. The message or revelation was usually aimed to identify the source of the revelation. For example, the supreme being and the man's fate would be proportional to his response. After a cosmogonic rupture that occurred in the heavenly sphere before the creation of the world or the announcement of revelation, some angels, subservient to the Creator, apparently tried to deceive man with a false revelation, or perhaps wanted to reveal the truth about the real nature or entity of man, his genesis and destiny. The angels who have tried to distort the message of the Supreme Heavenly Being to bring confusion to man's effort to understand his present finite condition as a human being or his destiny as a superhuman being, although we do not always call them demons, act as forces of evil. One of these evil angels is the devil of Christianity and Judaism, or Iblis, the devil of Islam, who in the form of a snake in the biblical story of the Garden of Eden, according to later interpretations of the myth, tried to prevent man from his attempt to understand his limits or limitations as a creator of creation, the creature of creation. He accomplished this by tempting man to taste the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, so that he can become like God or the divine beings of the heavenly court. In Zoroastrianism, the evil spirit Angra Mainyu, later Ahriman, tried with the help of subservient spirits such as the evil spirit lie and arrogance to deceive the Koic man into choosing a fate that condemned him to be punished in hell, for example, in a burning chasm. And at the end of the 16th century, when the Copernican revolution took place based on the theories of the Polish astronomer Copernicus, in the context of which man's view of the world changed radically, for example, the Earth ceased to be considered the center of the universe and became the planet of the solar system, but an insignificant part of some galaxy in a seemingly vast universe. The ideas of angels and demons no longer seem to have their place. The tripartite world, heaven above, earth in the middle, and hell below, was now an anachronism. However, with the emergence of modern Western psychology and psychoanalytic research in the 19th and 20th centuries, the principles on which the belief in angels and demons is based took on new meaning. Many Christian theologians found that some of the views of psychoanalysis helped to reinterpret the meaning hidden in primitive and traditional beliefs about angels and demons. The tripartite world found its new myth in the conception of a tripartite personality structure, the superego, the limiting social rules by which man can live as a social being, the ego, the conscious side of man, and that, or libido, the cauldron of desires that boils and churns, always ready to explode below the threshold of consciousness. Thus, demons, according to this interpretation, could well be defined as projections of man's uncontrollable urges, which push him to act according to his personal selfish desires without considering what effects they would have on other people. From a social view of the matter, it could also be defined as the forces of environment and heredity, which push man to act, think, and speak contrary to his own good and that of his community. The contemporary French writer Denis de Rousemont, in his book Le Part du Diable, the part of the Bible, the devil, urges that the devil and the demonic forces that plague the modern world may very well be manifested in modern man's return to barbarism and with a lack of humanity that distinguishes human-to-human relations. In the 2nd century AD, St. Clement of Alexandria, Christian philosopher and theologian, leaned towards the psychological interpretation of demonic forces, saying that man was often captured by the inner impulses of his passions and carnal desires. The Freudian myth of the human personality and other psychological studies thus gave a new dimension to the study of angels and demons. Medieval iconography, which graphically depicts angels and demons as hybrid creatures that often challenged even the most vivid imagination of those who looked at them, has been pushed aside as a psychological, psychoanalytic, and modern mythological symbolism combined with theological reflection. And the perception of the dualistic universe, religious traditions that see the universe in a dualistic way, such as Gnosticism, they considered angels as heavenly beings who exercised control over certain spheres through which the soul had to pass as soon as it was freed from the bonds of material existence. A necessary condition for the believer to attain final union with the supreme spiritual reality was to know these angels and their names. In various lists of the 7 angels who ruled the 7 planetary spheres are Gabriel, Adonai, Lord, Ariel, the Lion of God, etc., the angel of the creation of the world of matter, Yahweh, sometimes called the creator and maker, was evil in Gnostic theory, not only because he was the creator, but also because he tried to prevent spiritual people from understanding the truth of their origin, nature, and fate. Manichaeism, a dualistic religion founded in the 3rd century AD by Manitus, an Iranian prophet, divided the world like Gnosticism into 2 spheres, the good, which is the light, and the evil, which is the darkness. These 2 principles coexist in the world of matter, and the objective of man is, in order to be saved, to separate the material from the spiritual so that he can reach a state of absolute goodness. In the highest position of the heavenly hierarchy are the 12 bright diadems of the Father of Greatness and the 12 ages, the prototypes, angelic forms that are divided 3 by 3 into groups and surrounding the supreme being in the 4 quarters of the heavens. Because the devil, the Lord of Darkness, claims the prerogatives of the kingdom of light, in some battle that ensued between the heavenly powers, light and darkness mingled and the world of matter and spirit was created. Man, ignorant of his spiritual nature and constantly tempted by the demons of the Lord of Darkness, finally understands his true nature thanks to the actions of some angelic beings called Friends of Light and Living Spirit, and his 5 assistants, the Lord of Majesty, the King of Honor, the Light of Man, the King of Glory, and the Protector. In the concept of the monistic universe, those who view the world as fundamentally monistic, such as Hinduism, Jainism, and Buddhism, generally do not believe in angels whose primary mission is to reveal truth. Asti is a mission of other beings, such as avatars, incarnations of gods in Hinduism, Tirthankaras, saints or prophets in Jainism, and bodhisattvas, those who are to become Buddhas in Buddhism. Because of all such forms are regarded as models of the holy living rather than as sources of revelation, except in the case of certain avatars, and they should not be considered according to standard Western concepts as angelic beings. These religions have many beliefs about demons. Beliefs in demons are a common element of all religious or mythological concepts of the universal belief in demons. Is not related to any special concept of the world. Demons may have a very wide role, geographically and historically, as spiritual beings that influence man in his relationship with the sacred or holy. They can be non-human beings are ghosts or human beings who for various reasons generally try to force man not to realize his highest aspirations or not to carry out activities necessary for his happiness in everyday life. The ancient Assyrian demon Rabishu is apparently a classic model of a supernatural being who inspired such fear in people that their hair literally stood on end when they thought they felt his presence. In the 7th century Europe, they ranked demons according to their power to seduce people into what they called lower instincts or desires. Including in these lists were nightmarish demons born from the semen of intercourse and demons who tricked people into believing they could fly by night to places where magical rites were performed. According to some 20th century authorities, as well as some early Christian apologists, the so-called demons of the world's major religions are former gods or spirits that were deposed or set aside by the religious beliefs of a conquering people. Thus, the Teutonic, Slavic, Celtic, or Roman gods either fell into demonic antagonists of Christ, his saints, or his angels, or were assimilated into the worship of holy forms of Christianity. Followers of ancient but no longer influential deities were often persecuted as advocates of witchcraft, especially in Christian Europe. And this I've translated from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.